Hey guys, I'm Shravya Gunipudi and you're watching Almost Destiny. Today's video is going to be about time management. If there's one thing that everybody asks me in my life, it's how I get the time to manage so many things at once. So, because of having so many things in my life and having the personal aim to have to excel in all of them, it became very important for me to understand what time management meant. And as I progressed in my life, I started following the same principle throughout. And I realized that I'm the kind of person who cannot be comfortable with where I am. And I always have to do something or the other and be busy. But that doesn't mean that you need to be that way. All it means is that I've gained the ability to manage my time as precisely as possible so that I can achieve my dreams and also pursue not just one but multiple things. So when I was studying for my CA, I'm a CA and CS by the way. I did my BCom, my chartered accountancy course, and my company secretaryship course at once. So what that meant was running around from 4 a.m. for my CA classes to maybe 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. in the morning again, preparing for my CS and also a little bit for my BCom as well. So, in order to do all of this, maintain this hectic schedule and not get burnt out or stressed out, there are a lot of things that I had to do. And even today, I have this YouTube channel, I have a craft store, and I have a full time job at an MNC as an auditor. So, how exactly do I manage my time? Let's find out. The first step is to build energy. Building energy for me would not just mean storing or conserving in my energy, but also about the various sources from where I get my energy. It could be from food. So, obviously, high protein, high fiber food that would keep me energetic and active throughout the day and also is healthy. Sleep. Personally, for me, I'm not the kind of person who requires a lot of sleep. I used to sleep 4 hours a day, and now it's come around to 5 to 6 hours a day. And I'm very content with that. Even nowadays, even if I get 4 hours of sleep, I can still function normally. That's just me, but that doesn't mean that you have to be that way. Find out the sleep schedule that works best for you and stick to it. Sleep at the same time every day and wake up at the same time every morning. So try to stick to those kind of schedules. Make sure that you're playing memory games or refreshing your memory every once in a while instead of becoming dull. Practice some sort of physical activity, even if it's walking or anything, but try to build your stamina. So if you're able to say climb two floors the first week, then maybe try to climb 3 or 4 floors the second week. So that's how you build your energy, you build your stamina, and that way you have enough of a capacity to take on more than what is actually normally possible. The second step, and this in my opinion is very, very, very important, something that people don't really understand the value of, and that is to have a clear mind. It may sound simple, but what having a clear mind means is to not be jumbled or confused in your head. It so happens that there's a possibility that in life you won't have just one thing that you need to do. You may have to work. You also may have to do some monitoring of your peers or your subordinates. You also have to do housework, keep your family engaged, keep your family happy. Maybe there's like cooking, cleaning, and all of that stuff that's in your head, and you just don't know how to go about it. You don't know what to do about it. And this is where it's very important that you understand the third step, and that is interlinked with the second, which is to prioritize. So stop, take a deep breath, and think, okay, you have 8 tasks today. What is time bound? For example, obviously cooking would be time bound because you need to have your lunch and dinner at a particular time. So naturally, that would become priority. And you have to prioritize in that way and try to understand what comes after what. And if you have a clear mind as to how you're going to go about your day, that itself saves you a lot of time. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself running around doing half of cooking, maybe half of work, maybe, putting your finger everywhere. And then when you come back, you're overwhelmed because everything is half done. So instead of trying to do that, just have a clear mind, understand that even if you are going to do half and half, you know when you're going to pick it up and complete it. So be clear about that. The next one is to try your best not to procrastinate. And this is something that a lot of people struggle with. I have the opposite problem. If I know what I'm going to do, what I need to do the next day, I try to finish it today itself. So it's not just me trying to finish today's work, but on a rare occasion that I get the time to finish tomorrow's work, I'm going to try to do it today. So that's the kind of person I am. But obviously, procrastinating is an issue that a lot of people deal with. And trust me, the only way you can solve procrastination is to make take that first step. And that means assuming that you have a task set for tomorrow. I know at this point you just want to relax, you're done with today, you don't or and you don't want to do anything else, or you know that you have a task on hand for which the deadline is until next week, and you think that okay, you can sit over the weekend and do it. But when it comes to the weekend, obviously you have other plans, you have other priorities, and you're just not in the mood to sit with it. So instead, I would recommend start slow. I'm not saying finish next week's task today. I'm saying start next week's task today. And that would mean spare 15 minutes and say, okay, look, for 15-20 minutes, I'm going to set it up. I'm going to set up the task. And tomorrow I'll do another 20 minutes. So when you do it that way, what happens is by the time the deadline comes, you would be prepared, or if you're not prepared, you'd at least be 70 to 80% done instead of having to start it at the last minute. And once you've mastered that aspect, what you can do is progress and ensure that you complete a task maybe 2 3 days in advance so that you can submit it in advance. A deadline, always remember, is the last time that you can send something to or send something for, but then it doesn't mean that that is the minimum time you need to take, it's the maximum. So try to complete things a little early, or at least start them if you really have a huge struggle with procrastination. Next is to increase speed. And this is something that I find very important, and I've also observed is very difficult for a lot of people to do. If you're used to, say, typing slow, or reading slow, or writing slow, thinking slow, automatically the number of things that you can do in a day reduce. And the only way to pick up speed is to start with something small. And I always recommend that when it comes to food, for example, of course, you're not supposed to eat fast, but if you're really slow eater, try to pick up your speed a little bit there. Or take a novel, or take any book. Maybe if you're studying, you can take your academic book, and in your mind, not aloud, but in your mind, start reading a little faster than what you're normally used to. And it may be uncomfortable at first, but within a couple of days, you're going to get so used to it. So the moment you learn to skim your eyes through a paragraph quickly, it means your brain is processing it quickly, and automatically you are able to do things quickly. And this is how I inculcated my speed right from a young age, because obviously when I was in the situation where I had to juggle a lot of things, I was also doing freelance writing at the time of studying, because I needed to. And I found that the only way I was going to achieve all of this and not feel heavily burdened is if I'm going to start picking up my speed. And that's how I did it. I started eating a little quickly, I started thinking a little quickly, walking a little quickly, just the regular stuff. Like, you don't have to start with your work, you don't have to start learning typing, you just have to, set your mind to it that okay, you want to do daily tasks a little quicker than normal. So when you do that, you automatically become faster. And naturally, there's obviously, this is common sense, and that is that if you're able to do things faster, you're able to accomplish more. Be organized and plan your work accordingly. So I tend to be the kind of person who is very extreme in terms of organizing and planning, and you don't have to be that way. But what you can do is start small. If you're going to wake up in the morning, say at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., just sit down and think, okay, what do you have to accomplish today? And that means that you're being planned. And that way, you know that okay, you have, say, 8 tasks or 9 tasks pending for the day, and you're going to spend maybe the first 4 hours in the morning completing the smaller task, and then the next 4 hours doing the bigger ones, or vice versa, whatever suits you best. What's important here is to be planned. The only reason, and if you can just think about it, the only reason why this would actually be important is because if you're sitting down and not knowing how many tasks you have in hand, not understanding what all you need to accomplish in a day, you will not know how long you can take for each task. So automatically in your mind, if you have a deadline saying that okay, within 1 hour I want to finish cooking today, for example, all you have to do is get into that mindset, and then you start thinking about what you can actually finish cooking within 1 hour. And that kind of planning inculcates an ability for you to understand what you need to do in order to stick to that plan. And that is why planning is so important. And when I say stay organized, I just don't mean that you mentally or through planning or organized through maybe planners and calendars and to-do lists and stuff. I also mean having your workplace organized, having your home organized. Next is to work in bits. And this is another trick that I mastered over the years, which is if I find 10 to 15 minutes of a gap anywhere, I try to put in some work there. And what that means is, let's assume that I have a work related task that was going to take me 1 hour. And then I have to cook as well during that period. And what I'm going to do is, if assuming my system is loading and I have like a few minutes to spare, I'll just bring vegetables and cut them and keep them ready. Or if my food is boiling or my food is cooking, I'm going to take that time to finish my work. And this also comes into multitasking, which is my last tip, which is that try to do multiple things at once. If you're sitting in front of the television and watching a movie, you can cut your vegetables and keep them ready at the same time, or you can fold clothes, or you can get the bed prepared, or whatever it is. But try to find a few gaps in your daytime or in your daily lifestyle where you can fit in more than one task. And that is something that really helps you. And assume that it's the weekend and you're supposed to go out. You're completely dressed and ready, but you're waiting for your family members to get ready. What are you doing in that time? Instead of sitting and browsing the internet, you might as well spend that 15-20 minutes or even half an hour sometimes to complete some pending task, or maybe to even start a pending task. Sometimes people's mindsets are such that they feel like if a task is 1 hour, they need to set aside 1 hour to complete it. But that's not always true. You can set aside 1 hour in 10-minute intervals, right? So you can start with the 10 minutes and go back. And to do this, it does take a little bit of effort, because it so happens that you may not be able to get into the zone, but eventually you will master this art as well. It is pretty easy. All you have to do is understand that this is for your benefit, it's for your well-being. And ultimately, if you're able to get through your tasks quicker, you're able to get through your tasks before the deadlines, and if you're able to complete multiple things at on time, you have more time to spare for your own self, for your own well-being. And that is what I want to end this video with, which is the last step. Do not think that just because you're doing a lot of things at once, you're not going to have time to rest or relax. It is very important to rest and relax, and I would definitely recommend that you find time to rest and relax in the middle. It doesn't mean that every time you're watching television you have to do something or the other productive. You can sit and relax as well. It's just that sometimes when you have too many things on hand on some very very busy days, it helps to uh, combine relaxation with something else. And for example, for somebody like me who is very very into craft work, for me that's relaxing. And as silly as it may sound, stuff like washing dishes or cutting vegetables or folding clothes, these things are relaxing to me. So if I'm working really hard and I feel like I need a break, I try to pick something else that is productive and relaxing at the same time, which is craft work. And because I run a craft store, it's good. It's productive that I'm doing some craft work and it's helping me relax, but it's also relating to some sort of productivity. Somebody very close to me once said that, productivity doesn't have to just mean success or money, it can also mean happiness. So if browsing the internet gives you happiness, then definitely do indulge. That is your productivity. And just do what makes you happy, do what makes you successful, and make sure that you're not burnt out in the process. I do know a lot of people who keep telling me that 24 hours isn't enough and that they're not able to accomplish everything that they've set out to do. So ultimately we all have only one life, so live it to the best, live it the way that makes you happy, and manage your time effectively so that whatever used to take you 15 hours takes you 10, and you can use the other 5 hours to do what you love. Stay tuned, stay happy, and enjoy.